In today's podcast, we have Greg DeBruno on the line. He is going to share his experiences as a successful affiliate marketer. Now, he's been in the game, I don't want to say a long time, but he's been doing it for a while. He's what I like to call one of the honest marketers over on TikTok, where he is being honest about the outcomes, the experiences, and your success rate. So let's go ahead and welcome Greg to the podcast. Hello, welcome. How are you today?
Austin, great. Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you for jumping on. I found this little clapping thing, so I wanted to try it out to see how it worked. But again, thanks for jumping on, taking the time out of your busy schedule. Can you share a little bit about your story and how you became to be an affiliate marketer on TikTok?
Yes, I'll try and give you the 30-second condensed version. I came on TikTok this past November after the whole world was shut down. And I have twins that are 24,
okay.
And they happened to do something that was not even rehearsed. They went viral, and it caused me to get on TikTok. And when I started consuming TikTok, I started realizing how many affiliate marketers were out there. And I decided that maybe this was my time after sitting on what I learned for about 10 years. And I thought maybe this was my time to pop out and start sharing the knowledge that I have packaged in my brain.
Awesome. Perfect. And I appreciate you sharing, because your knowledge and wisdom is really impactful and powerful. Like I said, I follow you over on TikTok, and I think you're what I like to call one of the honest ones. You're transparent and you're truthful about the success that people can experience. They can earn a full-time income, but it's not going to happen. 50K is not going to happen in overnight or in the next 3 months. And so that's one of the things that I like to talk about. But anyway, you've been on you've been on your journey for a little while. Can you talk about some of the niches that you've been into?
Actually, yes. So the one main niche that I really stayed in was to make money online. And the reason why is there was two things that I'm passionate about. One was my first original career path that I wanted to do, which was aviation. I'm a licensed pilot, but never continued on for a few different reasons that maybe we'll get into. And that was where my passion was. And then when I discovered affiliate marketing, and I always had an entrepreneurial spirit and always dreamed of having my own business. And when I learned of affiliate marketing, that's the first time that I really felt like, yes, I could do this. So when I started to learn and started to understand everything, that passion became real. So I decided to follow my passion. I kind of practice what I preach.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about aviation. I know that you're a project manager. I didn't know about the aviation aspect.
Yeah. So growing up in Philadelphia, I lived about maybe 3 blocks from Philadelphia International Airport. So about every 30 to 40 seconds, I had an airplane flying directly over my home. And that just invited me into that whole world. And my father would take me behind the airport, and I would watch airplanes land. And then I bought a scanner so I can listen to the communication. At 15 years old, I took my first intro flight. And then around 19 years old is when I decided, like, this is what I want to do. And I went to aviation school. It kind of got broken up school because I became a father at 22. But I pieced it together, saw it all the way through. But unfortunately, right around the time I came out of aviation school and was building up my hours to kind of get into the seat of a commercial aircraft, 9/11 happened. And that just really just changed the whole face of the industry. And I had to pivot, and that pivot was a rocky road.
I hear you. And unfortunately, 9/11 changed everything. I was a senior in high school, and I've shared this story before, but I remember someone wheeling those big CRTVs into the library when we were all sitting, and then someone said, "Hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center." And, that completely changed everything for everybody in different ways that you wouldn't even think of. And so, yeah, no, it's unfortunate. You probably would have had a great career as a pilot, but, the industry just took a nosedive. Well, that's not a great analogy, but
It's right on the money.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So, within Make Money Online, we know that's a wide niche. What are some of the topics that you like to cover and like to talk about?
Some of, really, Austin, the basics. As you know, when I started in 2008 is when the affiliate marketing came across my radar. So I dabbled from 2008 to 2010. I was broke. I was a young dad. My kids were young. My wife became the breadwinner. She was a upper management for a bank. So um, I started teaching myself how to build websites, old HTML style. And the tools that are out there today weren't around at that time. And there definitely wasn't any of these free trials that you can utilize. Because if there was, I would have had my start long ago. So what I really try and do is just the basics through building, excuse me, building a simple funnel, uh, building that funnel around, even if it's just one product or service that you can speak firsthand on, that you truly believe in, then that you can comfortably recommend that to others, and build an email list. And when you build that email list, I call it the ground beef rule, 80-20, where you give 80% of your best content and 20% is saying, hey, check this out or buy my stuff.
Yep, I 100% agree. That email list is going to be a lifesaver time and time again. And yeah, with the free trials, even 3 years ago, GetResponse and Aweber weren't free. They only recently just started giving away that stuff for free. And really, and I try and hammer this home. There's no excuse not to do email marketing today. If you want to be a business owner, you want to be successful, you have to do email marketing because it can be free. And so, whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, there's no excuse. Um, what's one thing that you wish you knew when you first got started when it comes to affiliate marketing?
Yeah, the one thing is and I still have to tell myself this: you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect at what you're sharing. And the way I share that analogy is, I think we all use GPS now to drive someplace, and GPSs are great because a lot of these GPSs, especially if you use the Waze app, someone who is just a short distance ahead of you can give you a warning that there's traffic, there's an accident, there's something on the side of the road. And when you think about that, that person may only be a mile and a half ahead, but that information that they shared is so valuable because of the time it saved you. So what took me such a long time was imposter syndrome. That's one of them. But really thinking that I had to be perfect and have it all figured out. And then it was later, thanks to Gary V, that's basically said just document your journey. And I decided to do that in November. And that's kind of where I started.
What you said a few very powerful things in that last sentence or paragraph. I'll even take it a step further. People don't want to buy from corporations and companies anymore. They want to buy from regular people. And so if you're creating imperfect content that's not polished, just you walking down the street, talking and sharing your thoughts and opinions, that helps you build a stronger connection than, an actual movie set, for example. We like to buy from each other. I feel a stronger connection with Greg than I do with, McDonald's, even though they've spent time, money, and energy researching. But yeah, what you said is incredibly powerful and incredibly important. Make sure that you only have to be one or two steps ahead of somebody else in order to show them the way. And when you show them the way, that's where you can make money. So I agree 100%. That's a very good point.
Yeah, it's really funny because we all do sales, right? We all purchase the TV, we all purchase a cell phone plan or a cable package that we love. And what do? We go into work the next day, we share that experience, we tell people, and without even knowing it, we're selling that product or service that we're talking about. And most times people will purchase or do the same thing just based on our recommendation. Again, because of the relationship that we already have. So relationship building to me is the key.
Yep. Yep. 100%. You'll tell your best friend, hey, I'm thinking about getting a new car. And they'll say, hey, what type of car are you thinking about getting? I want to get a Ford Festiva, for example. And your friend will say, no, don't get that. It breaks down every 6 miles, get this one instead. And that's essentially what affiliate marketing is. You're connecting solutions to problems. And one of the things that I try and make sure that I convey is at its most basic form, that's what you're doing. You're helping someone connect a solution to a problem. And like I said, I think you do a really good job of that on your TikTok profile. Um, what's a secret that you want to share with us? You've been in the game for a little while, certainly longer than I have. What's something that we need to know that you want to share with us, obviously?
Um, the one thing that I would say is that you don't have to build when your first, if you're getting into strictly affiliate marketing, your first business doesn't have to be the business that makes you your fortune, right? It should be the business. Your first one should be what you use to learn from, where you kind of make your bones. And the other thing is don't fall in love with the tools that you need to build this business, because there's a platform out there that is 1,000% free to use, where you can build pages, do email marketing, and you really never have to pay for this service. And for someone who's just beginning, that's so important, because a lot of people still can't afford some of these services. And it's important to know that, listen, a Lamborghini and a Ford Taurus all do the same thing. They are going to get you there, right? So there's nothing wrong. It's all about the destination, not the vehicle that gets you to the destination. So if you're a beginner and you really want to do this on a shoestring, utilize the tools, and don't worry about getting fancy, and don't think that you're selling yourself short, or you're not going to be successful if you're not using the big name products that the big name people are talking about.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, no, I agree. Once again, I agree with you on a few different things that you said. Unfortunately, the affiliate marketing industry, maybe not all of it, but what we see on the surface has shifted into you've got to be successful tomorrow or else you're a failure. When I built my first blog, it was in security cameras. I was happy to make that 67 cents because it was proof of concept. Nowadays when you look on TikTok, it's you got to make 50K or you're a failure. You got to be pulling in these big numbers or you're a failure. When if you've gone nowhere, that first step, that first commission is proof that you've done something and that you can do it over and over again. And you should be excited about that small little step because that's a sign of bigger things that could come. That's one of my biggest things I wish I could convey to people is just take that small little step and don't try and leap across the Grand Canyon if you've never done it before. One bite at a time. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And maybe it's just TikTok. Maybe it's because we're in the life, I guess. We seem to see the negative aspect of it where, again, these numbers are getting crazier and crazier. Just a few years ago, it was make $100 per day. Then over the pandemic, it was 10,000. Now, and you stitched a video where it was like 50,000 or 30,000. It was some obscene number that
Twenty
you just,
thousand a month as a beginner.
yeah. I mean, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable telling somebody that, especially if they've never gotten started. Um, I think you alluded to this just a second ago, but I want to make sure that I hammer this home. What's one thing that you thought was important, but turns out it isn't important when it comes to affiliate marketing?
Vanity metrics, the number of views, the number of likes, the number of shares. You know, um, I'd rather have $1 than 100 pennies. So I believe that there's been content of mine that caught fire, and I was excited about it. I mean, I'm real. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't get excited when I saw TikTok blow up, but I also realized, being totally true, it didn't change my world like some people would make it seem. So I don't get caught up in the vanity metrics. I truly believe, you know, just plant your flag and let the world come to you.
Awesome. Yeah, and the thing with vanity metrics is they can be manipulated and massaged so easily. There are websites out there where you can go and buy 1,000 followers or 10,000 likes or whatever it is. And so, yeah, getting caught up in the vanity metrics means absolutely nothing if you're not bringing home any money at the end of the day. I agree with you 100%. The other thing that you mentioned that wasn't important or as important is, like you said, falling in love with different softwares. Whether it's ClickFunnels or System.io, it all works. It all achieves the same purpose, and it gets you to the end result. So yeah, no, you're spot on, and I can't disagree with you at all. Um, so conversely, what's one thing that you didn't think was important but turned out was really important when you first got started with affiliate marketing?
Um, I honestly didn't think email marketing was important, and not so much the email marketing. Excuse me. What I've learned, and this goes back to when I learned from my first mentor. Actually, my first mentor is still my mentor, and I don't like to use the word mentor because we're friends now, and that word was not used in 2010. Um, but when we learned about email marketing, I can still remember this. The segment that he taught about email marketing was called Love Your List. And I never thought that email marketing was that important. I thought it was the means to solicit offers or send offers to make money. But I changed that when I realized, and this is something I implore anyone who's getting into digital marketing. We don't, and you know this as a creator, we don't see the faces of the people interacting with our content. We don't see the faces of the people who sign up to our list. And it's important that because we don't see them, we have to treat them like real people with real hopes, real dreams, and real desires. And if you take that to heart and you make that paramount, then you will always you can always be confident that you're delivering valuable content with the main goal of helping and providing value, and the fringe benefit is making money, not the other way around.
And that goes back to vanity metrics. We can have 1,000, 10,000 people on our mailing list, but if they're not engaged, they're not active, they're not responsive, you might as well have three. So yeah, no, email marketing, I think, is that first little hurdle that a lot of people cross, because I didn't do email marketing when I got started. For whatever reason, I had this mental roadblock that people would just buy whatever it is that I'm promoting, and we know that's not the case. I also thought that people wouldn't opt in, but at the same time, if they're not going to opt in, they're probably not going to buy from you anyway. So you might as well do that little email marketing step. I agree 100%. You got to do that email marketing, and you can do it for free. There's no excuse.
There's so many ways that you can do it. I like to say, for people who are really on a budget, I mean, you can really bubble gum and duct tape this, as long as you realize that's what you're doing. And if you realize that you're doing that using, maybe making landing pages or making funnels with Google Sites and using Gmail, you can definitely do it. At the end of the day, it's like we said earlier, it's not the service, it's the authenticity behind it, and it's the value that you bring. That makes all the difference.
So what was your biggest hurdle? Let me rephrase it, because like I said, you've been around for a little while. Over the last few years, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered with your online business?
I was my biggest hurdle. And again, it just goes back to, I wanted to be perfect. I compared myself to people. For example, you have an award sitting behind you on the wall, and I don't have those awards. So right away, that would be something that got in my head, and thinking that maybe he knows something I don't. Maybe he has the secret sauce and I don't, come up to his level. And what I really learned is that, again, as we said, people like to do business with people. And sometimes it's not about the awards on the wall or the system that you're communicating on. It just comes down to just being authentic, and people resonating with someone. And I think when you resonate and someone feels like, hey, I like this person, I like the way, that is the magic, So that was my biggest obstacle, just getting out of my own way and forcing myself to make content.
Yeah, no, and it feels like you're taking the words right out of my mouth. We all have that hurdle with imposter syndrome. We compare ourselves to where we are now to someone that's further along in our journey. That is a incredible way to trick yourself into not creating content. I used to compare myself to a guy. His name was Freedom Influencer over on YouTube. He had over 100,000 followers. I used to spend so much time watching his content and trying to analyze it and figure out what he was doing and try and emulate it. And so I wound up wasting time trying to be somebody I wasn't, and just not making any money in the long run. It wasn't until I decided, okay, I'm going to be me. I'm going to talk in my own cadence. I'm going to talk as fast or slow as I want to, that you start connecting and building with people. And then they come back to you, whether it's with your YouTube channel or they join your mailing list or they just directly buy from you. So no, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. And again, even the awards are kind of like a vanity metric in a way, that you don't know how that person achieved that award. That person could have been working on the award for 10 years and he just got it, or he got it through spending $100,000 on paid ads to get a $10,000 award. So, I mean, again, a lot of that stuff can be vain or vanity in a way, but you're taking the words right out of my mouth. So, besides affiliate marketing, how many other side hustles have you tried?
The only one I really did was Fiverr. There was a time I was making landing pages on Fiverr, and I'll be honest with you, it was just out of sheer desperation. This was about maybe 4 years ago, and I just said, "Hey, I can make simple HTML landing pages using a simple designer that's out there. It's a open source called Composer with a K." And basically, I was able to use those landing pages, whether someone had a WordPress site or a standard HTML site. And oddly enough, after about 2 weeks, it took off. I mean, there was a couple of times I had to pause my gig just to catch up, and it really did good. And then other things came along, and it was just, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze compared to the other things that came along. One of them being the project manager now of a digital marketing company.
Yeah, I did a little bit of Fiverr myself. I had certifications in Amazon Web Services, and so I used to do some of that over on Fiverr when I was desperate for a way to get out of my job. My only challenge that I ran into with Fiverr is simply that they wanted complete things done, like very time intensive stuff, and they didn't want to pay more than $50 for it. And so,
Yep, that's
that
the problem. I like this. Yeah, it's I tell people it's a shame that sometimes it's the race to the bottom, instead of the other way around, because everyone's trying to underbid by $5, and before you know it, just to get that sale, you wind up selling yourself short, doing more work, and it's not even worth the money that you're making, especially after Fiverr takes their cut from it.
yeah, 100%. And that's the weird thing with Fiverr is they actually take money from both sides. They take money from the seller and the buyer. They do pretty well. They've got a nice little racket set up.
They got it set.
So you mentioned that you are a project manager. How long have you been a project manager?
I've been doing that now for 3 years. 3 years with a company. Actually, I mean, the company was started by a friend of mine. We actually played Little League together, and he ran. I don't know if they're that far out, but you might have heard of a company called One SEO. They're pretty big, but he started with Bell Atlantic or Verizon. When you bought an ad in the yellow pages, they would try and upsell you on a landing page for your business, and then they would SEO optimize it. And then he decided to go on his own. And just through talking with me and whenever we would talk, every now and again he would reach out to me and ask if I can do something. And then out of the blue, he popped out. We were talking about something, and he just said, "Man, you know more than what you think you know." And he just pitched the idea, "Would you want to be a project manager?" And the reason was, I pride myself on non-geek speak. You might hear me say that in some of my videos. I try and just, I always have the approach that I'm going to talk to someone like they're a child, because let's face it, most business owners, lawyers, contractors, they don't understand this world that we live in. So if we start talking over their head, they kind of glaze over. Yeah, exactly. So basically what he liked about me was that he was having a problem. He can find people that were great handling the customer, but they didn't know how to get their hands dirty. Or they could do the techie stuff, but they had horrible people skills. So I love people. I love talking to people. I love connecting with new people, and I also love doing the work. So I can get in if a client has a problem. I don't have to throw it over to the design team. A lot of times I can hop in, take care, rectify the situation, and just return it to the client. And it just makes everyone happy when you can do it in an efficient way, and kind of do it with cinnamon and sugar, so the client's really happy.
Yeah, I read somewhere that most people don't understand or comprehend above a fifth or sixth grade level. So the higher that you talk, the more people you're going to turn off, regardless of what you're saying. So yeah, talking to people at a very talk to me like I'm five or explain to me like I'm five level is a great way to connect with people. How has project management helped you with your affiliate marketing business, or has it?
It has time management, understanding different businesses, understanding different markets. So now, if working with we work with people in all sectors. We work with law firms, we work with contractors, we work with the restaurant industry, pretty much all around. So when someone wants to build a business around that, for example, the restaurant owner wants to maybe build something where they can help people start their own restaurant. How to find a location, how to get the licenses, how to be the health codes, and understand all this stuff. Because I see what's going on in their business from talking to them, and I work on some of their marketing strategies. It allows me it just allows me to know a lot more what they're going through. And I think kind of what you just said, as a loud motorcycle goes by, um, realistically, if you know 10% more than the average person on any subject, you're considered an expert. you know so that I forgot where I learned. I don't know if that was Jim Rohn, who I got that from. But you really, you really understand that. It sounds like cliche, it sounds like just a phrase, but when you start talking with these people, and I'm not, I mean, well, when I was younger I did cook in a restaurant, but when I can understand and even say things to them, where they know I know about that industry, it just helps build that trust factor. They see like, oh, this person understands. So when, again, just all comes down to trust. When someone trusts you, then they're comfortable moving forward with you in any direction.
What books would you recommend new affiliates read? Or really any online business owners? Do you have any suggestions? You mentioned that one. I hate to put you on the spot, but
I'm gonna bomb here.
okay.
I'm gonna bomb. I'll tell you, I have a list of books that I do want to read. I'm not a big reader, and the reason is that most of the time when I get to settle down with a book, it's at the end of the day, and I usually fall asleep. As much as I would love to sit here and say I'm this avid reader and can share all these books, I can't.
No, I agree with you. If I want to fall asleep fast, I'll crack open a book. and by
Yes,
and by like
exactly.
the fourth page, I'm passed out. But one of the things that I'm trying to get back into is reading, because people have put in years worth of their experience and knowledge in different aspects, and so just try and pick up different things reading. There's a book that I just picked up again. It's called Influence. This person takes a look at the psychology of getting people to buy what they want. And one of the things that he talks about very early on in his book is the law of reciprocity. So, you give something to someone, then they're going to feel compelled to give something back to you. And maybe I'll put a link or something to that. But, yeah, so if we can figure out the psychology and philosophy around selling and getting people to do what you want, that's going to really help make you more money and help you grow your business.
100%.
So I haven't asked before, and what I'll do very early on is I'll provide a link to your social media platforms. But where can we find you?
So right now, again, just being a creature of practicing what I preach, I always tell people. So to answer your question quickly, I'm only on TikTok right now, and the reason why is because it's super important that whatever I'm sharing, it's something that I'm doing. So and in this, I'll tell you where I dropped the ball, but I'm taking care of that. So people always ask, what's the best way to get started? What's the best social media platform? And if you're just learning affiliate marketing, then find the platform that you know best or that you enjoy best, be it Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and master that platform. And then once you master that platform, you can move on. So, and I did that. So I started with TikTok, and I wanted to make sure that when I was saying that, it's real important to me that I walk the walk that I'm talking. So, but I did it to a fault because I have an online course, and the only thing I have the personal coaching that goes with that course should someone want it. But I never built the community on Facebook, which is super, super important. So I know I'm selling myself short, and I'm in the process of getting that community built. So right now, the only place to find me is on the old TikTok.
Perfect. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description to your channel. I'll also flash it on the screen here so that others can see where to find you. And I agree 100%. There are literally millions of people on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn. Go where you feel comfortable. If you don't want to show your face on TikTok, do a blog, start a blog. Just go and do something, do it, move forward so that you can successfully build your online business. Now, I do have a question for you. I actually have a couple questions. One, I'm not very good on Facebook groups, I should say. I've got a group of about 1,800 people, and I can't get them to talk to anybody, talk to me, talk to each other. It's very stagnant. What would you recommend, or do you have suggestions to help someone grow their Facebook group?
Just share your content share your knowledge, give value. And based on that, people will ask questions, and those questions provide you more content. But ideally, it should be I don't so I for me it would be I have a free course, and when they sign up for my course, I have them on my email list. But how great would it be? So let's look at it this way. I have uh, a list of about 5,000 on my list since November. That's a nice crowd. So if you can get them all in one room where they're helping each other, right? So someone asks a question. Now that you're building that community where other people are, and it's all how you start that community. You have to set the ground rules. Be kind. Help other people. Don't try and you're not here to sell your stuff. Let's just all, it's kind of one big group, where we all help one another, and you provide content, you share your journey, you help other people, because when you're helping other people, everyone sees that. Facebook, you're on a platform where everyone is looking at what you do. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to build so this way everyone who's involved in my course, who came into my ecosystem, now has one place that they could be, where they can help one another, and I can help them, and we all help one another. I mean, there's no reason why I can't learn from someone who's a beginner, so that's the way I would go about it, because that's how I'm being taught to go about it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna try and implement some strategies, because I would really like to get these guys talking to each other instead of me just posting and then the crickets. Because if people don't integrate, or if people don't communicate with each other on Facebook isn't going to show your content to more people, and then it kind of goes down in a slippery slope until you're talking to one or two people. So yeah, I would definitely like to get people back into that. But that's one of those things that'll happen over time. You're going to do what you're going to do. So I maybe you answered this before. I think you said time management. In your opinion, what's the hardest part about affiliate marketing?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I think the hardest part is, one, is people believing in themselves and believing in the business model. I often say, it's another thing I learned from Jim Rohn. It's we don't normally rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So, we all have goals. Everyone has goals, but why are people not achieving those goals? Because they have systems in place in their everyday life that don't allow them to reach those goals. So, for me, it's just a lot of people don't believe in this, and they don't start in an area that's near and dear to them. So many people get caught when they learn of affiliate marketing that they have to promote affiliate marketing. And the truth is, and I hate to be harsh, but if you're a beginner, even though we said earlier you don't have to be that far ahead, you're just a beginner. So if I just got in an airplane for the first time and said, "Hey, I'm going to try this out. Come with me." Hell no, right? And that's what it comes down to. But so many people are knowledgeable. They have a passion, they have a hobby that they can share that with the world. And if they just take their time to build around that and to trust in the knowledge that they have, you know, that's the one thing that for me is the biggest.
Yeah, no, I agree. For whatever reason, people get so entranced. Maybe it's the numbers that are thrown out there, but they get so entranced with, okay, affiliate marketing means I got to promote affiliate marketing. And that's why I use the random example like fishing lures. I don't fish at all, but I talk about fishing lures all the time because it's like the complete opposite of what I am. And I just try and communicate. There are literally thousands of affiliate programs out there for you to choose from. 99% of them aren't in high ticket courses, and you can have a very nice life in any one of those thousands. And so, yeah, that it feels like that's a fight that I try and fight daily. And it feels like a losing battle sometimes, but I think people are starting to come around. They start to see those other opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. And I try and illustrate that by if I just use my list, everyone kind of scoffs off the $7 product. But if I have a list of 5,000 people and only 500 buy a $7 product, that's $3,500 right off the jump that you can make. And I tell people, how different, how much better would the quality of your life be if you were just making an extra $500 to $600 a month? For some, that's an extra bill. That's taking their significant other out to dinner, to a movie, and for some, that's the missing piece in their life that creates all the happiness that they're looking for.
Yep, I agree. $600 is grocery shopping for maybe the entire month. It's a car payment, and life feels much different when you don't have to worry about that car payment. That's one less thing that's off your plate. And, you know, you could do this with just being an affiliate for Amazon. As long as you do it correctly, you can have a successful career with Amazon or Target or Best Buy, whatever it is. And I think that might be kind of that mental hurdle because of what we see over on TikTok and, the other platforms. But yeah, there's just so much opportunity out there. One question that I always get, and I'm interested to hear your response. If this actually worked, why are you sharing it with me? That's a question that people ask all the time.
Oh, this is awesome. I love this question, Austin. And I'm going to use the example that you just used, which is fishing. So I love to fish. I'm an avid fisherman. When I go fishing, one of the things that I normally do is when I head out to wherever I'm going, a local pond near me, and I see we're kind of like a community, just like we are in this affiliate marketing community, right? We're all friends. We all share tips, right? And well, I'll go ask, or people ask me, "Hey, what's working? What lures are you throwing? You top water, bottom. What are you doing?" And we're not afraid to share that knowledge. We want people to catch fish, right? So, and I also realize that pond, that's big enough for all of us, right? This pie is big enough for everybody, right? My knowledge, the knowledge that you share, you can help someone build a business in any area, right? So it goes back to what we said earlier. If they just take that knowledge and they package it in an industry that they already know, that they already can share value in. And I get that all the time in my videos. Well, what do you get out of it? And I try and share with people that that's not the mentality to have, because if we go into a bakery, how many times do we go into a bakery or a candy store and they have samples, right? Taste this. Well, why are they making you taste that? Well, but they want you to try their product. No one, I don't believe, ever went into a bakery, took a free sample and said, well, what's in it? Why are you giving this away? They instinctively know why they're giving it away. And I if what would make me happy, this is going to sound so cliche, but what would make me more happy than someone buying a course or buying into my coaching program would be just an email that says, "Hey, you helped me do this." When I get that, I won. I believe the karma bank is going to stay full much longer than the money bank. And that's something I believe in. Probably I believe in it so much, which is why I probably haven't made as much as I could.
No, and I agree with you 100%. One of the best messages that I've ever received was on a YouTube video, and I post this everywhere. I posted on my TikTok where the guy came back and said, "Hey, thank you. You helped me earn my first commission with Bluehost." And then he ended it with, "Now I can't sleep." And we've all had that feeling like when we earn that first commission, we're thinking, "Hey, we're on our way. We finally broke in the code or whatever it is." But getting back to your fishing example, not to mention there is fly fishing, there's saltwater fishing, there's bass fishing, there's crab fishing, there's lobster fishing. There's so many different types of fishing. You've got a fishing lure to catch perch or whatever it is out there. There's still all these other different types of fish out there that people can catch. So yes, we're giving away our information for free. We're trying to help you out because you can't catch all the fish. I don't have the tools to catch all the fish. You don't have the tools to catch all the fish. And there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah, and it's the best example because, even when I'm fishing, if there's someone and I see them pulling in a fish, I immediately drop my rod, go over to either watch, share in the excitement, say, hey, way to go, or help them, grab a net, help them out, right? We're a community, right? They're out fishing because they want to enjoy the sport. They want to catch fish. So, it's camaraderie, it's support. The same thing can exist in this world. People just have to stop thinking that they're competing. They're only competing with themselves. As long as you commit to being 1% better than the person you were yesterday, you're a winner. You're a winner.
100%. 100%. I agree with you 100% there. So when you first got started, who was your biggest supporter?
Oh, my wife. My wife was my biggest supporter in everything that I've done. Which I'm sure was hard for her because there was plenty of times that, she carried the financial load of the family. Once the flights industry blew up, I mean, I had to reinvent myself. So I was the stay-at-home dad, feeding the kids and taking care of the kids. I was also hard for me to get into the industry because I don't know if I said it. My son, at 17 months old, was diagnosed with autism. He was totally nonverbal. So it became apparent that he needed therapy 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, speech therapy, special instruction, occupational therapy. So how do you go out looking for a job and saying, hey, I need a job full time, but I can't be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between these times. So that goes over like a lead balloon, right? So, and it was hard. It was hard to do that. It was hard to, as a man, like we're men, right? So what's our job? We have to carry the family. So it was very hard. It was mental wearing on my mind, but I just said but she still supported me. So she still supported me. She still supports me to this day, even though sometimes she's like, when is the big thing going to happen, right? Sometimes she's caught on the vanity numbers, but at the end of the day, I get that support, and that makes all the difference too. Because if she wasn't supporting me, I would have to give it up because eventually that pressure would get so great that I wouldn't be able to focus properly.
Successful affiliate marketers have someone supporting them. And I think you need that because there are going to be days where you're incredibly frustrated and angry. Things aren't going your way. Maybe your funnel hasn't worked. Maybe you haven't earned a commission in 3 days and you're starting to doubt yourself. Well, can I do this? Is this really for me? Should I, like you mentioned before, should I go get a day job? And that supporter is going to say, nope, keep going. You're almost there. They're going to ask you basic questions that you haven't thought of. Well, what were you doing a week ago that worked that you're not doing now? And then it can help you go back to the basics. But yeah, having a support system, even if it's just one person telling you to keep going, is so powerful to your success. And I think not a lot of people realize that.
100%. That's couldn't be more true.
All right, so we're winding down here. I've got a few more hard-hitting questions, and then I've got some fun questions at the very end. What's the best piece of advice that you can give someone that is just starting out?
Follow your passion. You have knowledge. You have a skill. You have something that you can share with the world. Share it with the world and figure out afterwards how you can make money off of it. But get started and follow that passion.
Start creating content of something, of some sort. Your audience will tell you where to go with the content, whether it's good or bad. But, you just have to, as I say oftentimes, get off the wall. Because people that are sitting on the wall, they're not dancing, they're not making any money. And you already know the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is you don't make any money. Best case scenario, you make a bunch of money and things work out very well for you. So last last hard hitting question I got is, if you could start over, what would you do differently?
Actually start. As I said, I learned all of this. I started really digging in, followed my mentor from 2010, 2000 to 2012, and had all this knowledge. Everything that I'm sharing now, sure, it's what I've learned, but there was no need for me to wait from 2012 to the end of 2021 to get started. Could you imagine the difference where I would be sitting right now? The conversation that we would be having today would be totally different if I started in 2012 and got out of my way.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time in our own way, whether it's about the perfect type of content, the affiliate program, your funnel. Can I really do this? We spend so much time in our own way. If we would just move out the way just a little bit, we could see and hear all of the great things that come in. And that's really the difference between successful and unsuccessful affiliate marketers. Successful affiliate marketers know enough to move out of their way. They're not smarter than you. They're not better than you. They don't have this God-given gift. They've just moved out of their way, out of their own way, and success, good things start to happen. Easy for me to say. So yeah, let me ask you a couple fun questions, and then we're gonna wrap up for today. Again, we've got Greg DeBruno on the line. I actually had a friend from elementary school. His last name was Bruno. His name was Ben Bruno. It has nothing to do with anything, but it just every time I see it, it reminds me. Again, we've got Greg DeBruno. I am very happy that he's taken the time out of his day to give us a lot of helpful information. Now I've got some fun questions. Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook.
Okay. For me, it's Facebook too. I haven't cared for Instagram for a long time. I had never really posted, wasn't serious about Instagram. And apparently, and I just learned this recently, there are 3 different message types that people can message you on Instagram. So there's like a general, there's like a primary, and then there's a requested. I had no idea. And I look and I've got all these missing questions and posts and comments. People probably thought I was ignoring them. I didn't know it was there. So Instagram, clean that up if you could. It's a weird thing, but it is what it is. Question number 2, Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Coke. Okay. Why Coke over Pepsi?
I don't know. I think I try and stay away from soda, but I just think it quenches the thirst a little bit better. There's something, it's not, I think Pepsi is a little more syrupy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of Pepsi or Coke. I try and drink, it's a sugar-free soda. I don't know can you see that? I try and drink that from time to time. I try not to drink, it's called Zevia, maybe. I try and drink that from time to time. Would you rather cook or clean?
I love, that's one of my passions is cooking. I cooked in a restaurant for a while. I cook dinner every night. I love to cook. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yep, I hear you 100%. During the summer, we basically cook on the Blackstone every day.
I want Blackstone. They're so nice.
Yeah, no, I think my wife tricked me into getting it so that I cook every day. But today's Taco Tuesday, so I'll be cooking something on the Blackstone today, and we've got something set up every day of the week. But no, I love cooking too. I love smoking briskets and all sorts of stuff.
Yes, that became my hobby a few years ago. I have 2 smokers and 2 grills, so I love it. I love doing the ribs and the pork shoulders. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I hear you. I saw a video on TikTok that said once you turn 35, you have to either do something or get a smoker. And I looked, and that's about the time I got my smoker, so I was a little offended, but it was the truth.
We're doing the right thing, according to them.
Yeah. Well, according to somebody, I guess. So who's your favorite comedian?
Oh, George Carlin.
Okay. Why George?
My father turned me on to George Carlin. Gosh, I'll never forget. It was the summer I was going into 7th grade, and everything that he seemed to talk about, not only was it funny, but it's funny. Back then it seemed true. And if you go back and look at some of his specials from the early 90s, you'll find out that everything that he said would happen actually happened. So, he really resonated with me. Very, very, very smart. I think to be a comedian, you have to be really intelligent, because if you have to flip a subject or flip something on its head, you have to know it really well to do that and be funny.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. It's easy to make someone just ha ha laugh. It's much more difficult for them to convey a political perspective and get someone to laugh and maybe even get someone to change their perspective. And he was really good at that. I've seen a lot of his stand ups on TikTok once again, and he's talking about stuff that could be relevant today. And he's been passed away for a number of years now.
Yes, yes, yes. It's funny. I shouldn't say this, but heck, no one's going to get me now. In 10th grade, I had to do an oral report, and I took his routine and basically wrote it out minus the curse words and got an A minus. And believe me getting an A in school, was basically you had a better chance of running east looking for a sunset.
That's funny. The final question that I have for you today is, which character of The Office are you most alike?
So sadly, I'm not a TV person. I really don't watch much TV. So I've never seen The Office. I've never seen an episode of Seinfeld. Um, so I don't know one character.
Well, Greg, we can't be friends anymore because one of my favorite TV shows is The Office. I,
I ruined it.
yeah, I've never seen Seinfeld either, and I don't get
Mhm.
the love behind it. Maybe that's just me.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't necessarily watch TV. I kind of have it on the background as I'm doing other things. And so I've seen The Office probably about 97 times all the way through.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
again, I laugh at the exact same parts all the time. My wife rolls her eyes and she wonders why I still think it's funny after all these years, but it is what it is.
That's your jam.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my one thing. Um, Greg, it was great having you on today. We spoke for about almost an hour, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Do you have any last words of wisdom, anything that you want to share with us before I let you go?
Just if you're thinking about getting started with an online business, it's definitely real. And all you have to do is get started and take it one step at a time, and you'll find the success that you're looking for.
Awesome. Perfect. I could not agree more. Most of this conversation was me just agreeing with you. So a great conversation. I thank you very much for jumping on and taking time out of your day. Once again, it was nice speaking with you and talking with you. You have a great rest of the day, and we will talk on TikTok, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much for the opportunity. This was great.
Awesome. Thank you.